As strange as it sounds, sometimes the only difference between an average player and a world-class player is their position on the pitch, something you'll come to realise from these 10 position changes that altered football history. First up, we have Thierry Henry. Henry signed for Arsenal from Juventus as a winger that was struggling to find his feet, but as soon as Arsene Wenger got his hands on him, he knew there was only one spot for him, right up the top, leading the line for the Gunners. His start as a striker was slow, with Henry saying, "At a certain point, I wanted to go to Wenger and tell him to pull me back out wide. Then I said to myself that I had to react, that I couldn't fail a second time." The perfect lesson in perseverance. Henry went on to score 228 goals in 377 games for Arsenal, and is still regarded as the greatest striker the Premier League has ever seen. When Carlo Ancelotti was asked about one of his biggest mistakes, he said, "At Juventus, I didn't notice that Henry was not a winger." Coming from one of the greatest managers of all time, it speaks volumes to how beneficial the change was, and Wenger has every right to be proud of his decision. Now onto the other side of North London, we've got Gareth Bale. The Welshman joined Tottenham from Southampton as a marauding fullback. However, his natural athleticism and his ability to beat a man saw Bale in the final third of the pitch more often than not, so Spurs manager Harry Redknapp decided to move him further forward permanently.
I played against Gareth Bale many moons ago now at Southampton. Let's say I got the better of him. I probably ate him for lunch. Forward a few seasons, he goes to Spurs, and subconsciously I'm thinking, it's only Gareth Bale. I can deal with him. I've had him at Southampton, and it was a massive, massive mistake. He destroyed me.
He was introduced to the world as a left winger after scoring a hat-trick against Inter Milan in the Champions League in 2010. In the two legs against Inter Milan, Bale legitimately ended the career of the unanimous best fullback in the world at the time, Maicon, with Harry Redknapp saying, "The most amazing thing ever was that when we played them at home, they left Maicon at right back, 1-against-1 against Gareth. He destroyed him again. It was the end of Maicon. He went from being the best right back in the world to hearing chants of taxi for Maicon." The now left winger tore up the Premier League and earned himself a move to Real Madrid, where he would score over 100 goals and win 5 Champions Leagues, becoming one of the greatest British players of all time. Next is Bastian Schweinsteiger, a man that most wouldn't believe ever played anywhere other than central midfield, but he actually spent his first few years in Germany out wide as a right midfielder, due to the talent Bayern Munich possessed in the engine room. He didn't end up moving more centrally until he got older, and it's a good thing he did. With Sami Khedira injured in the warm-up, Christoph Kramer concussed early doors, and Toni Kroos struggling on the big stage, Schweinsteiger produced the definitive performance of his career in the final of the 2014 World Cup. From central midfield, Schweinsteiger almost single-handedly battled with the whole Argentina 11, leaving the Maracanã with a black eye, bloodied face, and most importantly, a World Cup winner's medal. During his career, he proved himself as one of the modern greats in central midfield, and later in his career, he even played as a central defender too. From one German icon to another, we have Philipp Lahm. Philipp Lahm will go down in history as one of the best fullbacks to ever grace a football pitch. However, towards the latter stages of the World Cup winner's career, Lahm's in-game awareness and horse-like stamina were recognised by Pep Guardiola as being a perfect fit for a midfield position.
He's one of the most fantastic players I ever trained in my life. Football is going to me is one of the best players I ever seen. He can play in 10 positions, no problems, because he understands the game perfectly.
The move into midfield paid dividends for Bayern Munich, with Lahm's prowess turning them into one of the strongest teams in possession on the planet. He may not have been as quick as he previously was, but the key to the change in role was his ability to keep the ball no matter what. The fact that he never got a red card over the course of his career tells you all you need to know about his quality and composure. Speaking of composure, next is Andrea Pirlo. Everyone's favourite bearded maestro has defined a generation of deep-lying playmakers and inspired fans across the world to learn what the word regista means. But Pirlo actually started out as a number 10 at Brescia, Inter and Regina, playing just behind the main striker and threading passes into the final third. While he became extremely good at this, his long-range passing was largely overlooked. This all changed when he moved to AC Milan to join up with Carlo Ancelotti. The manager deployed Pirlo as a shield to the back line, lying just in front of the centre-backs, allowing him to dictate the game with his immaculate passes, and thereby giving birth to one of history's great midfielders.
So 1 week he takes me on the other side, he gets one player who speaks English to translate. He said, "Tell him to not shout." And I'm like,
what's your face like?
No, I was like, what's he trying to tell me? You know? He's like, because he said, if you shout, even the opponent knows he's free. He said, if he's free, tell him I will see him.
Pirlo has since stated that the change of position changed his career, one that is filled with silverware for club and country. Now onto the unsung hero of Klopp's best Liverpool side, Roberto Firmino. Before Firmino's move to Liverpool, the Brazilian was deployed in an attacking midfield role at Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga. Signed in 2015 by Brendan Rodgers as an attacking midfield player, there were early teething issues at the club. Being utilised on the flanks at times did not suit him, and his Liverpool career didn't look like it would be a long one. However, it was Jurgen Klopp who realised the potential of the attacker, deploying him in a false nine role that he has grown to epitomise.
Centre forward Firmino, I think any manager in the world would have him as their centre forward in their team. I think he's absolutely incredible, Firmino. He's just selfless, brilliant, scores goals, sets things up. They can link off him, makes all the right runs, just outstanding player.
His unique talent of dragging opposition defenders out of position, affording the likes of Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane the space to create goals, has made him one of the best examples of how a simple change in position can change the course of a career. He brought the role back into fashion in the English game, and left Liverpool as a club legend. Over to Manchester, we've got Paul Scholes. The cries of Paul Scholes, he scores goals, are heard to this day echoing around Old Trafford, and that's exactly what Paul Scholes did. He scored goals and played as a striker during the early stages of his career. However, Sir Alex Ferguson once played him in place of Roy Keane, and Paul Scholes' performance gave the boss a hint of greater things. His vision and ability to dictate a game would be wasted up top, but his eye for goal would still get plenty of use in midfield. Never the most athletic, as his legs gave way over the course of his career, he found himself falling deeper and deeper into midfield, where he began to exert an influence on the game with his supreme range of passing. His extremely successful career in the middle of the park rightly put him on a pedestal with some of the best midfielders that the world has ever seen. No surprise Lionel Messi also makes this list. In his earlier days, the little magician was mainly deployed from the right flank. With changes in personnel and the evolution of Barcelona at the time, he was moved into a false nine position in which he thrived. He was the jewel in the crown of the team that was arguably the greatest club side in football history, and it was as a false nine that he scored 91 goals in a calendar year. There's not much more to say other than that the change took him from one of the best to the best. It was a genius move by Pep Guardiola, and Messi has never looked back since, having not played as a traditional winger in years. The same can be said about Cristiano Ronaldo. Despite arriving as the classic tricky winger in Manchester, his evolution has been immense. Ronaldo's years as a winger came for Sporting, Manchester United, and a part of his time at Real Madrid. At Real Madrid, he first moved from winger to inside forward, and finally to an out-and-out striker, and he remained there for the rest of his career.
Rio beat him in front of everyone, so we screamed, and Cristiano was so angry. He sent his cousin by a tennis table. After 2 weeks, he back and he beat Rio in front of all of us. Yeah. So that's Cristiano Ronaldo. He don't want to lose any game.
Even now at 39, he's still productive as a seasoned poacher. Again, the move centrally allowed Ronaldo to shine. He likes scoring goals, and there is no better position to do that. Thanks for watching. Let me know any other positional shifts that have changed the game.